History often remembers kings and queens. Their speeches shape nations, their decisions influence generations, and their faces dominate headlines around the world. But every monarchy also has someone working quietly in the background, a person whose influence is measured not by public attention, but by unwavering dedication. In today's British royal family, many believe that person is Princess Anne. When King Charles III inherited the throne after the death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022, the world focused on a new king, a new queen, and a future king in waiting. Cameras followed every step taken by Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, and Catherine. Every public appearance became breaking news. Every gesture was analyzed. Yet while millions watched those historic moments unfold, another senior royal continued exactly as she always had. No emotional interviews. No carefully managed publicity. No attempt to become the center of attention. Instead, Princess Anne quietly carried out her duties with the same discipline that has defined her life for more than 5 decades. Royal historians often describe Anne as the monarchy's most dependable member. She rarely seeks recognition, yet her influence has grown steadily through years of loyal service. As King Charles entered one of the most challenging periods in modern royal history, many royal experts began asking a fascinating question. Could Princess Anne be the steady force helping the monarchy navigate an uncertain future? The answer begins many years before Charles became king. Princess Anne was born on August 15, 1950, the second child of Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip. At the time, no one could have predicted that her mother would become Britain's longest-serving monarch or that Anne herself would spend nearly her entire life representing the crown. Growing up inside Buckingham Palace was unlike any ordinary childhood. While other children enjoyed privacy, Anne's life unfolded beneath constant public attention. From an early age, she witnessed the enormous responsibility carried by Queen Elizabeth II. The late queen rarely spoke about personal sacrifice, but her actions taught an unforgettable lesson. Duty always came first. It became the principle that shaped Anne's entire life. Unlike many members of the royal family, Princess Anne developed a reputation for speaking plainly. She wasn't interested in impressing photographers or creating headlines. She preferred honesty over ceremony and action over publicity. That straightforward personality made her different. Some admired her directness. Others considered her refreshingly authentic. But almost everyone agreed on one thing. She never pretended to be someone she wasn't. As she grew older and discovered another passion that would define her early years, horses, she became one of Britain's finest equestrians, competing internationally and representing her country at the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. Long before social media transformed public life, Anne had already demonstrated the determination and discipline that would later become her greatest strengths. Success never changed her approach. Whether competing on horseback or attending royal engagements, preparation mattered more than applause. Those qualities became even more important after she officially began full-time royal duties. Over the decades, Princess Anne built an extraordinary record of public service. She visited hospitals, schools, charities, military organizations, universities, and communities throughout the United Kingdom and across the Commonwealth. While glamorous events often attracted media attention, Anne quietly accepted hundreds of engagements every year. Many passed without international headlines. That never seemed to bother her. According to royal commentators, Anne has consistently ranked among the busiest working royals, completing hundreds of official engagements annually. Her calendar reflects a simple philosophy inherited from Queen Elizabeth II. The work itself is what matters, not the publicity surrounding it. That belief became especially clear during one of the most emotional periods in recent royal history. September 2022. After 70 years on the throne, Queen Elizabeth II passed away at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. News of her death sent shockwaves across Britain and around the world. Millions gathered outside royal residences to leave flowers, write messages, and pay tribute to a monarch who had served with remarkable consistency for 7 decades. For the royal family, however, this wasn't simply a constitutional transition. It was the loss of a mother, grandmother, and guiding figure. During those difficult days, Princess Anne accepted one final responsibility that deeply moved the public. She accompanied her mother's coffin on its journey from Scotland to London, remaining beside the late Queen throughout that historic farewell. Later, and released a deeply personal statement describing the experience as an honor and a privilege. Those simple words captured the relationship between mother and daughter better than any lengthy speech could. They also revealed something important about Anne's character. Even while grieving, she continued placing duty before personal emotion. As Britain prepared for King Charles III's coronation, attention naturally shifted toward the future. Charles faced enormous expectations. He wasn't simply becoming king. He was following one of the most respected monarchs in British history. Every decision would inevitably be compared with Queen Elizabeth II's remarkable legacy. At the same time, another historic transition was taking place. Camilla, who had spent years supporting Charles as Duchess of Cornwall and later Queen Consort, was preparing to assume the title of Queen. For decades, public opinion surrounding Camilla had remained divided. Some believed she had gradually earned public respect through years of charitable work and loyal support for Charles. Others continued viewing her through the lens of past controversies. Becoming queen placed her under a level of global attention unlike anything she had previously experienced. Questions filled newspaper headlines. How would the public respond? Could King Charles modernize the monarchy while protecting its traditions? Would Prince William's growing responsibilities reshape the institution's future? Yet amid all these discussions, Princess Anne continued doing exactly what she had always done. Working. She attended official ceremonies, visited charities, supported military organizations, and represented the crown across Britain without changing her routine. That quiet consistency didn't always generate headlines. But inside royal circles, it earned something even more valuable: trust. And as King Charles settled into his reign, that trust would become increasingly important. Because while the world watched the new king lead the monarchy into a new era, the challenges facing the royal family were only just beginning. What role would Princess Anne play as Charles confronted those challenges? And could her decades of experience become one of the monarchy's greatest strengths? Those answers would begin to emerge in the months that followed. The days following Queen Elizabeth II's funeral marked more than the end of an extraordinary reign. They also marked the beginning of one of the most important transitions in modern British history. For the first time in 70 years, the United Kingdom had a new monarch. King Charles III understood that every move he made would be compared with his mother's legacy. It was a position unlike any other. Queen Elizabeth II had become a symbol of stability through decades of political change, international crises, and social transformation. Filling that role was never going to be easy. As Charles stepped onto the world stage as king, the pressure was immediate. Newspapers across Britain debated whether he could unite a nation while modernizing an institution that had existed for more than 1,000 years. Around the world, millions watched closely, wondering what kind of monarch he would become. Unlike his mother, Charles entered the throne after spending more than 50 years as heir apparent. During that time, he built a reputation for supporting environmental conservation, sustainable farming, architecture, and interfaith dialogue. Yet becoming king meant setting aside many personal opinions to embrace a constitutional role that demanded political neutrality. It was one of the greatest adjustments of his lifetime. While Charles focused on leading the monarchy, another historic change was taking place beside him. Queen Camilla was stepping into a role that few people could have imagined decades earlier. Her journey had been one of the most closely followed stories in royal history. Public opinion had changed dramatically over the years, but memories of the difficult periods surrounding the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage remained part of Britain's collective memory. Even after years of charitable work and public service, Camilla knew many people still viewed her through the events of the past. Rather than trying to rewrite history, she focused on the responsibilities of the present. She continued championing literacy, supporting organizations that help survivors of domestic abuse, and attending engagements across the United Kingdom. Slowly, attention shifted from controversy toward her work. For King Charles, that steady commitment mattered enormously. The monarchy has always depended on teamwork. No king governs alone, and no queen represents the crown without the support of countless people working behind the scenes. While the public often sees only the ceremonies, each official engagement requires careful planning, coordination, and dedication. Princess Anne understood that better than almost anyone. Having spent decades representing the crown, She knew that consistency builds confidence. Long before cameras arrived at an event, months of preparation had already taken place. Every visit carried significance, whether it involved opening a community center, recognizing volunteers, or meeting military personnel returning from overseas service. It was work that rarely attracted international headlines, but it formed the foundation of the monarchy's relationship with the public. Royal commentators frequently point to Anne's extraordinary schedule as evidence of her commitment. Year after year, she has completed hundreds of official engagements, often ranking among the busiest members of the royal family. Unlike glamorous state occasions that dominate television coverage, many of her visits take place quietly in towns and communities across Britain. To those she meets, however, those moments are anything but ordinary. For volunteers dedicating years to local charities, for families facing hardship, and for young people receiving recognition for their achievements, a royal visit can become a memory lasting a lifetime. And has always understood that. Perhaps that explains why she rarely appears interested in publicity. Her attention remains fixed on the people standing directly in front of her rather than the cameras surrounding them. As King Charles settled into his new responsibilities, another senior royal was preparing for an even greater future. Prince William. As Prince of Wales, William's public role expanded significantly. Expectations grew with every passing month. His responsibilities extended far beyond ceremonial appearances. He represented continuity, the future of the monarchy, and eventually, the next king. Observers noticed something interesting. The more William's role increased, the more frequently royal experts spoke about Princess Anne's influence. Not because she sought authority, but because experience matters. Few living royals have witnessed the transformation of the monarchy from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II into that of King Charles III, and has observed changing governments, evolving public expectations, historic jubilees, state funerals, coronations, and countless international events. That institutional knowledge cannot be taught overnight. It is earned through decades of service. Royal biographers have often described Anne as someone who understands the machinery of the monarchy better than almost anyone else. She knows its traditions, its responsibilities, and perhaps most importantly, the importance of remaining steady during uncertain times. Those qualities became increasingly valuable as public attention intensified. Every photograph taken outside Buckingham Palace generated thousands of online discussions. Every speech delivered by the king was examined line by line. Every family appearance sparked new theories across social media. Yet official palace business continued uninterrupted. State visits were organized. Charitable organizations received royal support. Military ceremonies proceeded as planned. Diplomatic meetings continued. Through all of it, Princess Anne maintained the same calm rhythm that had defined her public life for decades. She rarely responded to speculation. She rarely commented on headlines. She simply continued working. That quiet discipline reminded many people of Queen Elizabeth II herself. The late queen often believed the monarchy should communicate through actions rather than arguments, and appeared to embrace the same philosophy. As months passed, King Charles gradually established his own style of leadership. Rather than attempting dramatic reforms, he focused on careful evolution, preserving long-standing traditions while adapting the monarchy to a rapidly changing world. It was a delicate balance, one that required trusted people standing beside him. Among those figures, Princess Anne remained one of the most respected, not because she demanded influence, but because she had spent a lifetime earning it. Still, even as the royal family projected unity during official engagements, new challenges were beginning to emerge. Questions surrounding the future of the monarchy were growing louder. How would Prince William shape the next generation of royal leadership? Could King Charles successfully guide the crown through an era dominated by social media and constant public scrutiny? And would Princess Anne's quiet example become the model future generations would choose to follow? The answers were beginning to take shape, but the biggest tests for the modern monarchy were still ahead. As spring arrived in 2023, Britain turned its attention to an event that had not taken place for almost 70 years. Preparations for the coronation of King Charles III were entering their final stages, and the world was preparing to witness history once again. For months, Buckingham Palace had been quietly planning every detail. From military rehearsals through the streets of London to the centuries-old traditions inside Westminster Abbey, nothing was left to chance. Every procession, every piece of music, every ceremonial role carried deep historical significance. Yet behind the magnificent uniforms, royal jewels, and ancient rituals was a much greater objective. The coronation was not simply about placing a crown upon a king's head. It was about reassuring the nation that the monarchy remained stable after one of the greatest transitions in its history. That responsibility rested heavily on King Charles. Unlike Queen Elizabeth II, who was only 25 when she became queen, Charles had spent more than 5 decades preparing for this single moment. Few monarchs in history had waited longer to begin their reign. The expectations surrounding him were enormous. Some wondered whether he could lead the monarchy into a modern age while preserving traditions dating back nearly 1,000 years. Others questioned whether younger generations would continue embracing the institution in the decades ahead. Charles understood those concerns. Rather than attempting to recreate his mother's reign, he sought to establish his own path while respecting the legacy she left behind. That approach was reflected throughout the coronation itself. The ceremony honored centuries of tradition, yet also included representatives from different faith communities and highlighted the diversity of modern Britain. It was a message carefully crafted for both history and the future. Standing nearby throughout those historic events was Princess Anne. Although she rarely became the center of public attention, her role during the coronation attracted widespread admiration. For the ceremonial procession, and served as the king's gold stick-in-waiting, a centuries-old ceremonial position responsible for the monarch's personal security during important state occasions. Riding on horseback behind the royal procession, dressed in full military uniform, Princess Anne presented an image that quickly captured worldwide attention. Photographs of that moment appeared across newspapers, television broadcasts, and social media. Many people described the scene as one of the most memorable images of the entire coronation weekend. Royal commentators praised both the symbolism and the emotion behind it. Here was the king's sister, a woman who had spent decades serving the crown without complaint, now entrusted with one of the most historic ceremonial responsibilities of Charles's reign. It wasn't simply about tradition. It reflected trust. Years of dedication had earned in one of the most visible roles during one of the most important events in modern royal history. Later, Anne spoke modestly about the experience. In keeping with her personality, she avoided dramatic language and instead emphasized that she was simply performing the duty assigned to her. That response surprised no one who had followed her career. Throughout her life, Princess Anne had consistently redirected attention away from herself and toward the institution she served. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla experienced a historic milestone of her own. As she was crowned beside King Charles, cameras captured an extraordinary moment that symbolized years of personal change. Only a generation earlier, many observers believed such a scene would never happen. Yet history had taken a different course. Camilla now carried the title of queen, assuming responsibilities that demanded grace, patience, and resilience. Her charitable work remained central to her public role. She continued supporting literacy initiatives, organizations helping survivors of domestic abuse, and projects promoting education throughout the United Kingdom. Rather than allowing the coronation to become the end of her journey, she treated it as the beginning of a new chapter. For Prince William, the coronation also marked another significant turning point. As heir to the throne, he pledged his loyalty to King Charles during the ceremony, an ancient tradition symbolizing continuity between generations. Many royal historians viewed that moment as particularly meaningful. It demonstrated that while the monarchy evolves over time, its foundations remain rooted in service, responsibility, and constitutional stability. Watching these events unfold, millions of people around the world recognized that this was no longer simply the story of King Charles. It was the story of an entire family adapting to new responsibilities. Every senior royal carried a different role. Every public appearance contributed to the monarchy's image. Every decision influenced public confidence. Among them all, Princess Anne continued standing apart, not because she spoke louder, but because she rarely needed to. Her actions had already established the reputation others spent years trying to build. As the celebrations concluded and daily royal duties resumed, the excitement surrounding the coronation slowly gave way to ordinary work once again. Charity visits returned to the calendar. State meetings continued. Military ceremonies resumed. Community organizations welcomed members of the royal family back across Britain. And it felt familiar. She returned to the same rhythm that had defined her life for decades. Yet behind the scenes, another challenge was quietly approaching. It would test not only King Charles's leadership, but also the resilience of the entire royal family. Unexpected health concerns would soon reshape the monarchy's schedule, place unprecedented pressure on senior royals, and remind the world that even centuries-old institutions must adapt to life's uncertainties. When that moment arrived, Princess Anne's quiet strength would once again become one of the monarchy's greatest assets. The excitement surrounding the coronation gradually faded, but the responsibilities facing the royal family only became greater. As the ceremonial celebrations came to an end, senior royals returned to a demanding schedule filled with official visits, charity work, diplomatic meetings, and public engagements across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth. For King Charles III, there was little time to reflect on the historic milestone he had just experienced. Becoming monarch was only the beginning. The real challenge was proving that the crown could remain relevant in a rapidly changing world while preserving traditions that had endured for centuries. Then, in early 2024, unexpected news changed everything. Buckingham Palace announced that King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer following treatment for an enlarged prostate. While the palace did not disclose the specific type of cancer, it confirmed that the king had begun treatment and would temporarily reduce his public-facing duties while continuing to carry out constitutional responsibilities behind the scenes. The announcement sent shockwaves across Britain and around the world. For the first time since the beginning of his reign, Charles faced a deeply personal challenge while also carrying the weight of the crown. Messages of support poured in from world leaders, political figures, charities, and ordinary citizens. Regardless of their opinions about the monarchy, many wished the king a full recovery. The news also highlighted something many people rarely considered. The monarchy is not supported by one individual alone. It depends on a team. As Charles stepped back from many public engagements during treatment, other senior members of the royal family quietly took on additional responsibilities. Among them, Princess Anne's role became even more significant. Without seeking attention, she continued attending official events across Britain, meeting volunteers, supporting military organizations, opening community projects, and representing the king whenever needed. It was not a new role for Anne. She had spent decades preparing for moments exactly like this. Her calm approach reassured many people that the institution remained steady despite unexpected circumstances. Royal commentators frequently noted that Anne's experience became one of the monarchy's greatest strengths during this difficult period. Having represented the crown for more than 50 years, she understood how to provide continuity without creating unnecessary attention. While headlines focused on the king's health, Anne simply continued working. That quiet determination reflected the values she had inherited from Queen Elizabeth II. Duty first, everything else second. The challenges facing the royal family did not end there. Around the same period, Catherine, Princess of Wales, also announced that she was undergoing treatment for cancer after major abdominal surgery. Her announcement was deeply personal and prompted an outpouring of support from across the United Kingdom and around the world. With both the king and Catherine reducing public engagements while receiving treatment, Prince William faced increasing responsibilities. He balanced supporting his wife and young family with representing the monarchy at official events. It was one of the most demanding periods of his public life. Throughout those months, Princess Anne remained one of the institution's most dependable figures. She neither commented publicly on private family matters nor allowed speculation to distract from her work. Instead, she demonstrated the same resilience that had defined her career for decades. Royal experts often describe this as Anne's greatest strength. She understands that public confidence is built through consistency. People may remember spectacular ceremonies, but they also notice who continues showing up when circumstances become difficult. That reliability has earned an enormous respect across political lines and among people with differing views about the monarchy. Even critics of the institution frequently acknowledge her extraordinary work ethic. As King Charles gradually returned to a fuller schedule following treatment, he expressed gratitude for the public's support and resumed many of his constitutional and ceremonial duties. His recovery marked an important moment for the royal family. It also demonstrated the resilience of an institution that has weathered countless challenges throughout history. From wars and constitutional crises to personal tragedies and changing public expectations, the monarchy has survived by adapting while remaining grounded in service. Princess Anne represents that tradition perhaps better than anyone. She has never attempted to become the face of the monarchy. She has never relied on controversy to remain relevant. Instead, she has built a remarkable legacy through quiet commitment, professionalism, and an unwavering sense of responsibility. As Prince William prepares for the future and King Charles continues shaping his reign, Anne's example offers an important reminder. Leadership is not always measured by the loudest speech or the grandest ceremony. Sometimes, it is revealed through years of showing up, fulfilling responsibilities, and remaining dependable when others need support the most. That may explain why historians often describe Princess Anne as one of the most respected members of the modern royal family. Her story is not defined by scandal or sensational headlines. It is defined by endurance, by discipline, by loyalty, and by a lifetime spent serving something larger than herself. History will continue to judge every reign, every decision, and every generation of the royal family. King Charles will be remembered for guiding the monarchy into a new era. Prince William will one day shape its future. Queen Camilla will be remembered for her own journey from public controversy to public service. But Princess Anne's legacy is already clear. For more than 5 decades, she has quietly demonstrated that true leadership does not require constant attention. It requires consistency. It requires integrity. And above all, it requires a commitment to duty that never fades, even when the cameras are turned away. Perhaps that is why, in an age dominated by headlines and social media, Princess Anne continues to command such deep respect, not because she sought the spotlight, but because she never needed it. The strength of the British monarchy has never rested on one crown alone. It has rested on the dedication of those who serve it every single day. And few have embodied that dedication more completely than Princess Anne.